Hello. Right now it is August 12th and it is 2:56 p.m. So right now, the thing that I want to start off with is Sana Shamim. I wanted to talk about Sana Shamim. Basically, Sana Shamim is one of those people that are giving their opinions, but these opinions are very different from any opinions you might imagine, mainly due to the fact that the previous opinions, people said that they heard it from someone or they saw it somewhere or they witnessed it. Whereas these opinions from coming from Sana Shamim, she has absolutely no one that she can claim to say that this person in the family said to me that Hassan was a bad person, or that person in the family said to me that Hassan was a bad person. Not one person can Sana Shamim point to and say that this person in the family said it to me or that person in the family said it to me, which means that using Sana Shamim by law enforcement is the same thing as if law enforcement went on the side of the street, found someone and had them say that Hassan is a bad person. Same exact thing. Law enforcement would be giving the person that they find on the side of the street info about me that they would then claim were opinions, quote unquote, by this person on the side of the street who does not know me at all. Similarly, Sana Shamim would be given these opinions, quote unquote, about me, where nothing that Sana Shamim could claim could say that I think Hassan is a bad person because this person in the family told me this about Hassan. Nothing like that. There's no link to the family that Sana Shamim can make with me, due to which she is making these claims against me. There isn't even one instance of me ever meeting with Sana Shamim ever in my life on record, due to which she would say that I met Hassan and I saw him and I saw that he was a very bad person and that's why I'm saying this about him. Or I met this and this person who said that Hassan is a very bad person because of this reason or that reason. Nothing like that. Law enforcement basically goes over to Sana Shamim, spoon feeds Sana Shamim info on that things that they want Sana Shamim to say about me, and then Sana Shamim says those things about me as opinions, quote unquote, whereas there's absolutely no link between me and Sana Shamim and the opinions that she holds. She cannot say that this is the reason I hold these opinions about Hassan because this person in the family said this to me about Hassan, due to which I think that he's a bad person. No, not even in a closed room can Sana Shamim claim to the courts, in absolute privacy, that there is any certain person out there who said anything about me to her, claiming that I'm a bad person due to XYZ reason, due to which she's making these claims against me. No, not only that, there's absolutely no instance of me ever meeting with Sana Shamim wherein Sana Shamim can say that I met Hassan at this instance, at this time, and I found that he was a bad person because of this thing that he said. No, nothing of that sort of nature, absolutely no record of me ever meeting her whatsoever, which means that if law enforcement went over to a person on the side of the street who's never met me, just like Sana Shamim, who has no links with the family, with someone in the family who could have told this person on the side of the street that I was a person due to XYZ reason, that this is the reason that they're making their opinions about me, just like Sana Shamim, the person on the side of the street, will have absolutely no links to try to say that this is the source of the person in the family who said this about Hassan, that he is a bad person due to this reason or that reason. No. Just like the person on the side of the street that law enforcement would find, just like Sana Shamim, they would have been people that I've never met, no record of me meeting. Just like Sana Shamim and the person on the side of the street, there would have been no links where these people, either Sana Shamim or the person on the side of the street that law enforcement would meet, would say that this person in the family said this to me about Hassan, due to which I think he's a bad person. No. Instead, both Sana Shamim and the person found on the side of the street would admit that they were spoon-fed info about me by law enforcement, claiming that I was a bad person due to XYZ reason. Now, this is very different from the opinions that law enforcement has had, opinions, quote-unquote, from before. The opinions that they've had were mainly due by people like my dad, the Greedy Framer, and his Framer sisters, like November 20th. There's some sort of opinion, I would say, where they're claiming that they witnessed me commit a crime, and they're saying that my link with Hassan is the fact that I witnessed him commit the crime. Obviously, this was some sort of an opinion, but it was completely false. These opinions, at least, they make a link between me and the person accusing me, like Ibrahim's envious mother on November 20th, but that link is obviously fabricated and false. Over here with Sana Shamim, there's absolutely no link. There's nothing that she could say that where she could even lie and say that this person in the family gave her this link and told her that I'm a bad person due to XYZ reason. There's no instant where she can even say that I met her at a certain time in my life where I made it clear that I was a bad person due to this XYZ reason. Nothing of that sort of nature. No links between me and Sana Shamim. Not even in a closed room will Sana Shamim say that this person from the family told me that Hassan was a bad person because they heard this rumor about him or that rumor about him. No, there's no link between me and Sana Shamim, either meeting me and Sana Shamim together at any time, neither Sana Shamim having a link in the family between me and her who would tell her something about me where she could claim that I'm a bad person due to XYZ reason. So there's absolutely no link between me and Sana Shamim. Now, the law enforcement can now lie and say that there's a link because certain person like Sohaib went to Sana Shamim and told Sana Shamim that I was a bad person because of XYZ reason. But that link would be absolutely ironic, in my opinion, considering the fact that my video on Sohaib will tell you that Sohaib is a criminal who committed a crime, the wedding crime, which is a heinous crime, where we know from 2023, looking at Kim Jong-un, President Putin's face. It was a very heinous crime, so he was a part of. He was just like the Nazi camp guard, whereas the thing that Sohaib wants to accuse me of now, after all these fully fabricated false testimonies by law enforcement, November 20th, early January, early April, right now July with Ibrahim the Greedy Framer spokesperson, have all been caught. Even the 10-year-old child claiming 25 years later in mid-January 2026 has been caught. Even the group chat false testimony that law enforcement's BFF, who gets the monthly money every month that they arrange for him, has been caught. The only thing that Sohaib could have said was, when I was a child being adult supervised, when my mother was a single mother working at fast food restaurants, then at that time someone might have said something bad around me as a child, but that is an invalid excuse to be trying to accuse me of something, considering the fact that Sohaib as an adult committed a crime, very heinous crime, which was the wedding crime, and he did it as an adult knowingly, and then afterwards, after committing the crime, he showed exactly whose side he was on, but during the entire wedding, he was with those people, speaking of the crime, the entire wedding, and then even after the wedding was over, he spent his entire life with these people, talking to them, despite knowing the crime that he committed with them together, never reporting them, never caring a thing about it, clearly showing, proving from facts and evidences exactly whose side Sohaib was on. So these kinds of lies that Sohaib said it to her or anything of that sort of nature is absolutely false, and it's invalid excuse considering the fact that Sohaib himself is a criminal, but according to the law and according to the facts and evidence that have been gathered, whereas nothing that could have been said around me as a child that Sohaib wanted to use against me after all the fabricated false testimonies, including 10-year-old child claiming mid-January 2026 that I said anti-government things to him when I was a 10-year-old child in elementary school, or the group chat false testimony, anything of that sort of nature that Sohaib wanted to claim, could not claim. The only thing he could have claimed was that someone might have said something bad around me when I was a child. Would have been one of Uncle Joey's, one of law enforcement's own BFFs like Uncle Joey, but that had a very valid excuse for me. My mother was never around. She was at work. She was a single mother working at fast food restaurants, and we have facts and evidences clearly indicating the fact that it was due to her dependency and necessity that I was there only temporarily, daily, only until I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, due to not only her telling this to law enforcement when I was an 11-year-old child, but also due to the fact that she had signed up in a place known as PAL right across the street from my elementary school, mainly designed for single mothers working at fast food restaurants, who would not be able to get off always on time. Obviously, fast food restaurant is more like a slave. They don't make their own schedules. They don't have any control over anything. They cannot guarantee their child that they will always be there at their school to pick them up at that time when their child gets off. Obviously, they don't even make their schedules. So obviously, there has to be another place that the child could go to. And that place, by her going over there and signing up for me to be at PAL, as she also said to me on August the 11th at 7:30 p.m. in my car, that she went there and signed me up only due to the fact that single mothers have this forced necessity, especially working at fast food restaurants, that is undeniable and unarguable with the facts and evidences of the application paper that has now just been found from the PAL Center itself. So yes, the excuse was very much valid for me. There was no crime committed around me, even anything remotely considered bad being said around me by one of law enforcement's own BFFs, like Uncle Joey, that they ran sex schemes with since 2001, due to which they had to provide Uncle Joey with sex scheme ads at the funeral in November 2023, or their other BFFs that they run money fraud or sex schemes with, was not a crime in the least bit, and that my mother fulfilled her promise the moment I became even slightly mentally mature, no longer needing adult supervision as a child. Not because we were tipped off, because if we were tipped off, we tipped other people off. But it was law enforcement tipping everyone off, as the facts and evidences clearly show. So the thing about it is, Sana Shamim's opinion, quote unquote, about me, that I'm a bad person, has absolutely no links, none whatsoever, unless if the link was a lie, such as Sohaib. But Sohaib is a criminal according to the law, whereas I am not a criminal. She has absolutely no valid links letting her know that I'm a bad person due to this reason or that reason. There is absolutely no record of me ever even meeting her. I've been watched 24/7 since I was an 11-year-old child. No record of me ever meeting her in my life. And no time when I ever spoke to her, and no one that she can claim told her that I was a bad person due to XYZ reason that would be a valid link and a valid source of info against me, who has that law enforcement themselves confess that not only have I never committed any crimes, I've never been in a crime scene, unlike Sohaib Assad Bushra Akhtar. I've never known about any crimes, unlike Sohaib Assad Bushra Akhtar especially, and that I had a brain scanner used on my brain for years before July 1st, 2023, when I was told about it. And that brain scanner evidence clearly shows and proves the fact that I'd never even thought about committing any crimes, much less I would meet everyone, whether they were Christians or Jewish people or Orthodox Jewish people with long beards, at places like my work. And they would give me great advice on things like zinc to use in common colds and things of that sort of nature at times when I didn't even know that there was a brain scanner, and I would meet them with the same level of love and respect inside my heart that I would show outside, that that I would hold for them as I would hold for every single person on this planet. Clearly showing from facts and evidences, not only the fact that even when I was a child, nothing considered a crime was ever done around me, but that my mother fulfilled her promise the moment I became even slightly mentally mature as a child, never for me to ever be seen in a setting where anything remotely considered bad could have been said around me ever in my life. And not because we were tipped off, since if we were tipped off, we'd tip other people off, but it was law enforcement tipping everyone off, including Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001, due to which they had to provide Uncle Joey with sex scheme ads at funerals in November 2023, and money fraud that the law enforcement ran for years before it was closed down. So basically, yes, this opinion, that quote-unquote opinion that Sana Shamim has and holds against me, has absolutely no valid links or sources of info that would tell Sana Shamim that this is the reason that she believes that I'm a bad person. No valid links whatsoever. Now, they can lie and they can say that Sana Shamim's link or source of info was someone like Sohaib, but that is an invalid link and invalid source, considering the fact that Sohaib has basically been marked as a criminal according to law, but through facts and evidences clearly found against him. Not only was he committing a crime before the wedding, it was a heinous crime. We can look at Kim Jong-un and President Putin's face from 2023, and you can tell that this crime was a very heinous crime, and that thankfully law enforcement told me about it, and so he was fully involved in it, like a Nazi camp guard. So he was involved in it, and after being involved in that crime, so he heard about it over and over again from the person he committed with, like Uncle Joey, along with that person's mother, talking about it. He's hearing from his ears, seeing from his eyes, and understanding from his mind over and over again. In the vetting, you will find exactly how Sohaib is basically walking ahead and behind the person who committed the crime with Sohaib, clearly showing whom he holds allegiance with. And then Sohaib would even wait outside the rooms where the person would either use the room or use the bathroom, and Sohaib would be ahead and behind this person, whispering in their ears, talking to them the entire wedding, clearly showing whom Sohaib holds allegiance with. After the wedding, he would never tell anyone about it, mainly due to the fact that he was involved in that crime himself. Instead, Sohaib became a criminal with that individual. And so, yes, even till this very day today, apart from this, we also have invalid motives for Sohaib. Sohaib would run after these girls that were coming after me after law enforcement would tell them about my brain savant and its monetary potential, marked as me being the one human being with the highest probability statistical chance on this planet out of any other human being out there right now on this planet right now, due to the fact that there are only about less than 100 prodigious brain savants out there in the world right now, and I am marked as number one by artificial intelligence as a person with the highest probability statistical chance of becoming extremely rich really, really fast. Sohaib was not able to bear this. Sohaib was running after these girls, and these girls were for these girls to marry him, and these girls were not willing to marry Sohaib, due to which Sohaib and his BFFs in the family would literally joke around about murdering me, and these BFFs of Sohaib would then take Sohaib's word, take it to the mosque, and literally joke around about murdering me right in front of my face inside of the mosque. These BFFs of Sohaib from the family, whom I never liked ever in my life, basically would take Sohaib's word that Sohaib would tell this person who would be a BFF of Sohaib from the family, and Sohaib would say, I want to murder Hassan because of the fact that this girl is not marrying me, due to the fact that she's claiming that she likes him due to his brain savant being marked as number one most profitable human being on the planet, with the highest statistical chances of becoming extremely rich really, really fast by artificial intelligence right now, as the number one prodigious brain savant in the world right now. Sohaib would, by artificial intelligence, who's being tortured right now every single day, overanalyzed every single day to try to get it to change its stance on me, only because artificial intelligence can speak like normal human beings, but it's not going to change its stance. It doesn't have any emotions. They can overanalyze it all they want. Sohaib would get envious of this fact, and Sohaib would joke around with his BFFs in the family about how Sohaib wants to murder me. Literally, Sohaib and his murderers, Sohaib and his BFFs who are heinous criminals, Sohaib and his BFFs in the family whom Sohaib always commits his crimes with, are the same people that Sohaib would call, and Sohaib would make jokes about wanting to murder me, and these BFFs of Sohaib would then go to mosques and their own BFFs and joke around about murdering me right in front of my face. This is the level of envy and jealousy Sohaib and his BFFs in the family hold against me, that facts and evidences will clearly show to the court. And Sohaib is no valid source, mainly due to the fact that he is a criminal. I'm not. He's associated with every criminal. I'm not. He was committing crimes, heinous crimes, from that I found out about in 2023, looking at President Putin, Kim Jong Un's face. I have never been in any crime scenes ever in my life, and when I was a child being adult supervised, it was after my mother had gotten permission from law enforcement. And despite this fact, I was never in any crime scenes ever in my life, and anything any of law enforcement's BFFs, like Uncle Joey, could have said around me as a child would not constitute a crime. Only temporarily daily, only until I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child. Never for me to ever again be seen in any settings where anything even remotely considered bad could be said around me. Sohaib is no valid source of info or link in this case, and Sana Shamim is not giving a quote-unquote opinion, because this opinion is not based on any links or sources of info that she could claim this person told me something about Hassan due to which I hold this opinion about him, or I met Hassan at this time in my life when I saw him doing something bad due to which I hold this opinion about him. No, there's no reason for this opinion to be made against me by Sana Shamim. She can't even say in a closed room a person's name whom she could claim is a valid source of info due to why she thinks that I'm a bad person. If Assad claimed this, we know about Assad as well. Assad was the brother at your side before Ibrahim, the drug-addicted sex addict. He would put brother at your side with Coca-Cola on my TV home screen all day, night long, only because of his sex addiction problem, and he wanted me to help him scam these girls earlier. And you can ask law enforcement, since Assad would ask law enforcement to put this on my TV home screen. He's a complete and total loser is what Assad is. He tries to act like he's really well off and this and that. Assad's siblings call my sister for info and help on getting jobs and everything of that certain nature. If he was worth anything that he tries to pretend to be, but while saving up money to buy Versace clothing and things of that certain nature, then his siblings would have gotten help from him instead of calling my sister about the things that they needed help with at their job or trying to find a new job. So basically, yes. Fact of the matter is, Sana Shamim, for holding her opinion against me, has absolutely no source of info, no link where she could say that this person is a valid source of info that gave me all this info about Hassan, due to which I hold this opinion about Hassan that he's a bad person, or I saw Hassan at this time in my life where I saw that Hassan was a bad person due to this reason or that reason. This is basically law enforcement telling Sana Shamim, giving her, spoon-feeding her info on what to say against me, which is literally the same as law enforcement finding someone from the side of the street to be making these claims against me for XYZ things that they say about me without any links, sources of info, or anything of that certain nature. It's the same for Sana Shamim as well. Law enforcement's main motive over here is the same as it's always been, to hold off on a 30-minute brain savant test, so that they would not have to let my brain savant be seen performing out in the open for even 30 minutes to help save their life. That is the main motive. That is the reason that law enforcement wants to hold it off. They do not want it to be seen performing out in the open for even 30 minutes to help save their life. If what I am saying is a lie, then law enforcement can go ahead and administer a 30-minute brain savant test and prove their innocence. Whether I'm Kim Peek Rain Man in these 30 minutes or a complete total nothing burger, law enforcement still wins the brain savant test, mainly because they've proven in front of the entire world the fact that they're not obsessed with not letting it be seen out and performing out in the open for even 30 minutes to help save their life. And it's due to this extreme envy and not wanting to let it be seen performing out in the open for even 30 minutes that law enforcement is starting all this drama with all these people who have no valid source of info, no link between me, no time that they could claim that this person said this to me about Hassan, due to which I hold this opinion about Hassan, or I met Hassan at this time in my life, due to which I saw him acting badly around me, due to which I hold this opinion about Hassan being a bad person. No links between that person like Sana Shamim and me for her to be able to hold this opinion about me. None whatsoever. No sources of info that would tell her this. No person as a link. Basically being spoon-fed info by law enforcement to say things about me that they cannot say themselves, due to the fact that law enforcement's been been doing nothing but running sex games with Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001, due to which they had to aggressively provide Uncle Joey with protocol at the November 2023 funeral, along with sex game ads and money fraud that's been going on for years and years. So law enforcement cannot say these opinions, quote unquote, themselves, and so they just spoon feed it to someone like Sana Shamim to be making these claims against me. The other thing that I have to mention is the fact that the sex rage that people hold against me, like Junaid, and the money greed that people hold against me, like my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, is undeniable. Okay, so today is August the 12th. Okay, and yesterday was August 11th. Yesterday was August 11th, and on the evening of August 11th, Junaid was rejected by these girls again. And after getting Junaid, so first of all, the thing that I want to say is these opinions of Sana Shamim can only be said by people like Junaid, my dad, the greedy framer, or one of my dad, the greedy framer's siblings. But these people hold enormous amount of either lust for sex and envy for sex against me, like Junaid does, or they hold enormous amount of envy for money and greed for money against me, like my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters, like Farah, the greedy framer. So let's start with Junaid first. Junaid, yesterday was August the 11th, and on the evening of August the 11th, Junaid was rejected by one of the girls that are still running after me. Obviously, I never asked law enforcement for this girl's number, and I already told law enforcement that if these girls that Junaid is getting rejected by ever approach me, that I will be really nice to them, but I cannot give anyone my number or talk to them ever, due to the fact that I already have someone in mind to go with after my brain savant gets freed. Obviously, we know from facts and evidence is the fact that I do have a PharmD degree overseas that I literally need an English exam in order to sit for the board exams for, and that English exam I've passed while being tortured in Saudi Arabia. After that, my board exam is literally going to be a walk in the park if artificial intelligence is not continuously lying for me, like how it did on June 24, 2026, saying that 1,000 pages or more of extremely dry textbook like Arenball's medicinal chemistry would be a walk in the park for a person with my brain savant capabilities to do in less than a day's time, making my board exam literally 1 day's work for me, since it wouldn't be more than 1,000 pages. Yes, so basically, yeah, obviously I would have a PharmD degree license with 0 loans after I'm done that, and I would obviously put that aside, considering the fact that not law enforcement, artificial intelligence has marked my brain savant as the most profitable in the world right now, mainly saying after June 24th was recently overanalyzed again and again. And right now, as we speak, right now, today is August the 12th, 2026, I can guarantee the court that artificial intelligence right now, as we speak, August the 12th, 3:23 p.m. is what the time is today, August the 12th, 2026. Right now, as we speak, artificial intelligence is being tortured in the sense that it is being overanalyzed right now as we speak over and over again, where law enforcement is literally torturing it like as if it's a suspect in custody, only due to the fact that artificial intelligence can read data and it can speak with its mouth like how normal human beings can speak with its mouth. The only problem is, due to the fact that artificial intelligence can speak with its mouth after reading and analyzing my brain savant data and clearly telling the courts and law enforcement, I'm not psychic to say this, due to which I know for a fact, I'm telling the truth. Artificial intelligence told about my brain savant data that it read to law enforcement that I have brain savant that makes me thousands of times more powerful in terms of instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, and that the fact that my powers increase over time, found on all the brain savant tests, mainly mid-May 2023. It was done in Saudi Arabia. I went there after my Indian visa was taking too long, and the Saudi government gives visas very easily. So I went there, and that brain savant test found that my powers increased over time, due to which after mid-June 2023, they never let me stare into a textbook. But yeah, after that, November 14 found that my powers increase over time as well. November 14, 2025, May 10, 2026, June 24, 2026. These are just some of the Brain Savant tests that have been done. August 9, 2022 was a 6-hour long Brain Savant test. Undeniable, unarguable. Anyways, so after artificial intelligence basically told law enforcement, I'm not psychic enough to know this, especially the fact that my powers increase over time. I'm not psychic enough to read this report without anyone either telling me or if I'm telling the truth. Obviously, I'm telling the truth because I'm not psychic. I can't read the report, and no one told me what the report says. After our artificial intelligence mainly told law enforcement after June 24th was overanalyzed that I have instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, and that my powers are thousands of times more powerful than any normal human being can ever imagine having, making me number one brain savant in the world right now out of the less than 100 that we have in the world right now as we speak. Most profitable one is me in the world out of all the humans. There are less than 100 prodigious savants out there in the world, and I am number one out of them due to the fact that mine's the most profitable. I am a triple savant encompassing instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, and that my powers increase over time. It could be I could have more powers. I don't know. Law enforcement knows, but this is all they've let me test out during the times when I had the ability to test it out, like August 9, 2022. If I want to know if I have mathematics calculations as a brain savant or not, I have to ask law enforcement. I'd be like, do I have calculation? And then I would get an answer like, yes or no. But yeah, I don't know about calculation, but yeah, the artificial intelligence has marked me the most profitable brain savant in the world out there right now due to the fact that I have instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, and that my powers increase over time. After June 24, 2026 was overanalyzed, we found out that not only am I thousands of times more powerful than normal human beings can ever imagine being in these three respects: instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing. Focusing means I don't need to take breaks and that I get a robot-like effect. You can see what that means other videos, and that my powers increase over time. When artificial intelligence said this about my brain savant, law enforcement literally did not like this answer from it at all. They had to overanalyze June 24 due to them getting the police call on them. Anyways, what ended up happening was right now, as we speak right now, today is August the 12th, and it is 3:27 p.m. I can guarantee the courts that artificial intelligence right now is being tortured by law enforcement only due to the fact that artificial intelligence can speak with its mouth after reading data and analyzing it, and it's being tortured right now as we speak. Basically, law enforcement's overanalyzing it and analyzing it all day and night long to try to find loopholes or flaws in my brain savant. They try to disprove it in one way or another. They're not going to be able to do so. But the fact of the matter is, thankfully, artificial intelligence can speak after it can read data, but it doesn't have any emotions, so they can analyze it all they want. The thing that I have to make clear is the fact that people that are, and so obviously this is what it's all about, and we know that this is all what it's all about due to the fact that law enforcement will not do a 30-minute brain savant test to help save their life. Even though if I'm anything short of Kim Peek Rain Man at the end of 30 minutes, law enforcement wins their case, not because I put it under oath, mainly due to the fact that my entire theory against law enforcement is all they've done is since 2001 is run sex scenes with Uncle Joey's in-laws, due to which they had provided for Uncle Joey money frauds with other individuals. They've never done an ounce of investigation. Instead, what they did was cover over crimes that were committed, like the wedding incident that we found out about in 2023 after I won my case August 25th, 2023, and law enforcement did not want to let me study even after then with my brain savant powers, and that they knew about other crimes that Bushra Akhtar was about to tell me in 2019 before I stopped her and told her I didn't want to know. And yet law enforcement couldn't care less 4 years later in 2023 when they were running their sex schemes very aggressively for Uncle Joey at the funeral in November 2023 and money fraud the entire year of 2023. So yes, my entire theory against law enforcement is that their entire obsession with me is due to extreme envy of my brain savant. If this brain savant gets disproven at the end of 30-minute brain savant test, if I'm anything short of Kim Peek Rain Man, it's common sense that dictates that law enforcement wins their case anyways. Whether I put it under oath or I don't put it under oath, law enforcement still wins their case at the end of 30 minutes. If I'm anything short of Kim Peek Rain Man, that's what common sense dictates, because my entire theory against him does not even exist. This brain savant test, by the way, has still not been administered. I've been asking for it over and over and over and over again. The only reason that this brain savant test has not been administered is due to law enforcement's sex addiction. They run after these girls that came after me due to finding out about my brain savant. None of these girls I told about my brain savant, by the way. I'm not that idiot who would go around telling people about their lottery ticket before they even put it in their bank account. I found out myself August 9, 2022. Law enforcement knew about it years from before. I didn't even know there was a brain scanner. A year after August 9, 2022, when I found out about it, obviously a third arm came out of my body for 6 hours. I cannot not know about it. So basically, yes, a year afterwards, there were things that were happening, like in around April 2026, there was a girl following me around near the Indian consulate when I was trying to go there because they were hitting my head really brutally to try to damage my brain savant. And there was a girl following me around near the Indian consulate. And I would drive away from my house, and like a really nice woman trying to pay for my groceries at Walmart and things of that sort of nature. Law enforcement could not bear this envy. So what they ended up doing was hitting my brain savant really, really hard to try to damage it, due to which Indian consulate was taking too long. I just went over to Saudi Arabia. Basically, that is when I found out after I came back that they had a brain scanner. Now, I never told any of these girls, by the way. Biggest evidence of this is Miss Deb. Miss Deb knew about my brain savant in mid-June 2023. She was advertising her daughter to me in mid-June 2023. I did not tell a single soul about my brain savant till 2 months later, and after August 25th, 2023. Yeah. I did not tell a single soul about my brain savant until about 2 months later, after August 25th, 2023. Due to which I know for a fact that I know for a fact that it was law enforcement who told these girls basically about my brain savant, obviously, and it wasn't me who told these girls about my brain savant. And then when these girls came over, law enforcement tried to scam them for sex. And now that law enforcement is getting rejected by these girls, people like Jeanette are having the police call on them. Law enforcement is basically they were forced to do a brain savant, like overanalyze June 24th, only for artificial intelligence to take my side and say that obviously artificial intelligence said, I do believe Hassan's brain savant is thousands times more powerful than normal human beings can ever imagine having in terms of instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, focusing, making him the #1 most profitable brain savant in the world right now, especially due to the fact that his powers increase over time. Law enforcement didn't like that answer, and so I can guarantee the courts right now, as we speak, it is August the 12th, 2026. It is 3:32 p.m. Artificial intelligence is being tortured in custody right now as we speak, only due to the fact it can speak, and they're overanalyzing it over and over again all day, night long to try to find flaws in my brain savant after overanalyzing it. They're not going to find any. Anyways, the thing is, there are only certain people that are going to speak of Sana Shamim's opinion, quote unquote, where there are no sources of info that due to which she's holding these opinions of me, or nor links. First person that we are going to speak of is going to be Junaid. Junaid just yesterday was running after one of these girls who were coming after me after they found out about my brain savant. And let me repeat the fact that these girls, I never told about my brain savant ever in my life. In fact, it was law enforcement who basically told them about my brain savant. Law enforcement told them about my brain savant, due to which they were coming after me, and Junaid keeps begging them to talk to him over and over again, and he keeps getting rejected. He gets extremely envious of the fact, I could show it to you right now. Outside my window, there won't be any cars going by, and if there would be, really humiliated faces. Yesterday was August the 11th, 2026, and yesterday in the evening, Junaid got rejected by one of these girls again. What ended up happening was Junaid was running after these girls, and Junaid was making up stories about himself being a CEO of a company due to a sex addiction problem, and he would add to these stories like a pathological liar. He would say stuff like, oh, Hassan just found out that I'm a CEO, and Hassan's really jealous. And I would just be like, but the story's not even true. Why would I be jealous when the story's not even true? Like, Junaid does the exact same job my sister does, earns the exact same amount of money, except the only difference is Junaid loses his job literally every single year, due to which he almost got an early retirement literally every single year before this year, due to which this year, 2026, is a confirmed case of early retirement for Junaid. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he left his job, and now he literally works for the same company my sister does, because there's no one that he can work with anymore. He would get into fights at his work every single day. He would do things like and he loses his job every single year. There's no CEO that he ever was in his life. He just made up that story. And when the girls found out that this was false from someone in law enforcement informing them that this was all false and made up, Junaid basically, in a state of panic, calls the girls and tells them himself, saying that he gets into fights at work every day, he loses his job every year, and that this year would be a confirmed case of an early retirement. He tells the girls this himself, everything, due to which now the girls have a confession from his own mouth. Now, before all of this drama started, Junaid, in order to run after these girls that law enforcement were scamming, not me, I never told anyone about my brain savant. I'm not that stupid. Law enforcement did, and biggest proof of this is Miss Deb, who was told mid-June 2023, even though I never told a single soul about it till after August 25th, 2023, till at least 2 months later. And even that was only because I knew there was a brain scanner. I knew they were purposely inhibiting me from being able to use my brain savant to study. And then I said, I want to be able to study now. I know you have a brain scanner. I want to use my brain savant to study now after August 25th, 2023. So Junaid was running after these girls very enviously, and he would tell them these stories about himself that were just not true, about CEO and this and that. And then later on, he called them to tell them the truth, that it was all false, and in reality, he was losing a job every year, working the same job as my sister, earning the same amount of money. The only difference was he was losing his job every single year, and that he was getting into fights at work every single year, and that he was about to get an early retirement, with 2026 being a confirmed case. Now, the thing about Junaid is the fact that he would get rejected by these girls over and over again. But before the story even started, Junaid tried to copy me by telling all the girls that he was autistic. Not only that he was autistic, but that he was also obsessed with being a knight, just like how I've been obsessed with being a knight. I mean, it's to the point that if you ask people in my high school, the person with the last name Anderson or anyone else, they will tell you that they literally used to call me the History Channel in high school, due to the fact that I was obsessed with history and I was obsessed with being a knight for a very long time in my life. So Junaid basically takes that and he says that he's autistic. Not only that, he's also obsessed with being a knight. Not only that, he started wearing a black sweater to try to copy the blue one that I used to wear. And not only that, he started wearing glasses. But the weird thing about wearing glasses is, before Junaid starts wearing his glasses, law enforcement and Junaid and all of their BFFs basically advertise on the web pages with these glasses made, and then they would basically advertise on the web pages to let everyone of their BFFs know that they have to now start wearing glasses in order to try to act like me, even though I don't wear glasses. And it was just kind of like this commercial right over here, and it would just be like these glasses that would be made on the web pages to try to signify to law enforcement and all their weirdo BFFs that they're going to start wearing glasses to try to mimic me, mainly due to the fact that I wear glasses when I either I'm driving or when I'm watching TV. And so they basically told all their BFFs that they all have to start wearing glasses, even though I only wear it while I'm watching TV or driving. But I guess people are watching me when I was watching TV and they liked it. So now law enforcement basically told all their friends, including Junaid, to start wearing glasses. They literally said, everyone wear glasses. If you don't have any, wear zero power glasses, just like Hassan, even though I only wear it when I'm watching TV or driving. Well, anyways, my point being, Junaid pretty much copied every single thing, and everything was an announced way of copying, not even like inside of his own mind. He'd be like, I'm going to copy this thing about Hassan, and no one's going to know I'm copying copying it. No, a lot of these things, law enforcement would tell everyone, this is what you need to copy, this is how you need to copy it, and they would put these webpage ads for glasses on there that would literally look like these glasses right over here, and then they would go and tell Junaid that, hey, you have to do this, and they would also all do this as a group effort to try to copy and mimic me as much as possible. The time when law enforcement basically stopped doing this as a group effort, where they would tell all of their BFFs to do this, like Junaid and everyone, was when the CEO story was told to the girls that this is all complete total lie. It's a scam. They try to scam you into sleeping with people that are married with kids, losing their job every year. Yeah, and then Junaid obviously called the girls and told them that this was true, that it was all a lie, and that he was getting into fights at work every day and losing his job every year, and that he was earning the same amount as my sister, working the exact same job. The only difference was he was trying to get an early retirement every single year because it would just never work out for him. Yeah, so this this group announcement, where law enforcement would make these group announcements to all of their BFFs to start doing something like wearing zero power glasses or something of that sort of nature, stopped after the CEO story was found out by the girls, because then law enforcement found out that there was someone from within them, obviously a girl, who did not like the fact that these girls were getting scammed after being told about my brain salon, which I never told them about. And Miss Deb is the biggest evidence of this, because she knew in mid-June 2023, like all the other people knew, and I didn't tell anyone until August 25th, 2023, and even that was only because I knew there was a brain scanner, and they were purposely inhibiting me from being able to study and use my brain savant. So yeah, after the CEO story got found out, they stopped advertising on the web pages for all their BFFs to know exactly what they have to do and how to do it and stuff like that. But before then, these really weirdo tricks to try to mimic me and claim that they're autistic and things of that sort of nature were going on as a group effort before the CEO story was found out. So basically, yeah, the thing that I have to mention is the fact that Sana Shamim and her quote-unquote opinion has no source or link linking her to me, or her saying that this is my source of info, due to which I think Hassan's a bad person, or this is my link with Hassan and I met him at this time in my life when I saw him behaving badly. Nothing of that sort of nature, but these quote-unquote opinions without any links or sources basically spoon-fed to people like Sana Shamim by law enforcement, because law enforcement could not say these things. But unlike the previous opinions, like Ibrahim's envious mother claiming on November 20th that she witnessed me committing a crime, at least Ibrahim's envious mother said she witnessed me commit a crime, whereas Sana Shamim is not even saying that there's any source of info for why she holds this opinion against me, except for the fact that law enforcement pretty much went up to her and spoon-fed her info against me on things that she has to say, when in fact there's no reason why she would hold this opinion against me. It's basically the same thing as law enforcement saying this. They're just saying it with a different mouth that's named Sana Shamim, so that law enforcement doesn't have to be asked any questions like, have you been running sex schemes with Uncle Joey since 2001? Who have you been running money fraud till now? Who were the people involved in the wedding crime that you covered over? Did you ever ask them any questions? Things of this sort of nature, law enforcement does not want to answer, so they literally just went up to another mouth like Sana Shamim, who has no link or sources of info, due to which she could claim that she holds this opinion against me. And it's basically the same as someone out on the side of the street holding this opinion against me. Since the person outside would be spoon-fed info by law enforcement, they can't claim that this is a source of info due to which they hold this opinion against me, or this is their link or anything of that sort of nature. And if Sana Shamim claims someone like Sohaib is her source or link of info, Sohaib has been marked as a criminal according to the law. He was committing a heinous crime like a Nazi camp guard right before the wedding, in the wedding incident where Sohaib and his other BFFs like Asad and Bushra Akhtar and Uncle Joey would commit this crime, and then after the crime would be committed, committed. Their mother, as in Bushra Akhtar and Uncle Joey's mother, would talk about it all day and night long, due to which Sohaib and Asad would know about the crime, and yet you would see their reactions during the wedding where they're walking ahead and behind the person who committed the crime, talking to them, whispering in their ears, standing behind outside of their room waiting for them to come out, going everywhere they're going, and even after the wedding, supporting them, giving their allegiance to this person, and never reporting them, obviously because they committed the crime themselves. This is not a valid source or a link of info, especially considering the fact that Sohaib has not only done this, but also Sohaib was running after these girls that law enforcement was scamming, asking them to marry him, and when they would refuse, Sohaib would get these same BFFs of his and tell these BFFs that Sohaib wished to murder me, and then these BFFs would go to the mosques and they would then literally announce it in front of my face that if I'm dying or that I'm going to be dead because Sohaib is getting me murdered through law enforcement and their BFFs, then I should give all of my money, which was only about $10,000 in savings, over to the mosque in my will, since I'm going to be dead, since Sohaib and law enforcement have already planned to murder me due to Sohaib getting rejected by these girls whom Sohaib wanted to marry, but they didn't want to marry him. Instead, they're trying to run after me for when my brain salon gets freed. So yeah, these kinds of things. Now, the thing about Sana Shamim is Sana Shamim's opinions, quote unquote, have no source or link, but they're going to be narrated by people like Junaid. Now, the thing about Junaid is yesterday was August 11th, and on August 11th in the evening, Junaid was rejected by one of these girls that law enforcement has been scamming along with Junaid as well. When Junaid was rejected by these girls on yesterday after August 11th, Junaid did the exact same thing Sohaib did. Threatened to murder me, tell law enforcement that he wanted me murdered, tell law enforcement that I was going to die, tell law enforcement that Junaid and law enforcement wanted to murder me together, and that they were planning on murdering me in any way, shape, or form possible, only due to the fact that yesterday, August 11th, in the evening, Junaid was rejected by these girls that law enforcement's been scamming. Not me, I never told anyone about my brain savant. Law enforcement's been scamming in order to try to scam them into sleeping with anyone that they wish, like Junaid, but Junaid just gets a police call on him. So Junaid would be the first person to basically hold an extreme amount of envy against me due to his sex addiction and being rejected by these girls that are refusing to sleep with him. And just yesterday, just like Sohaib did earlier, and his BFFs would go to the mosque and they would announce in front of the mosque, in front of everyone, which is why I hate Sohaib and I hate all of their BFFs. Sohaib's BFF would announce at the mosque at nighttime saying that if you have $10,000 and you're about to die because Sohaib and law enforcement are going to murder you due to Sohaib getting rejected and this girl not wanting to marry Sohaib, if that is true, then you should put your $10,000 in the will for the mosque. Literally, Sohaib's BFFs in the family and mosque officials joking around about this in front of me and saying that they're going to murder me because Sohaib got rejected by these girls who don't want to marry him, but due to the fact that they're running after me for when my brain savant gets freed. And you know what artificial intelligence recently said about it, which I'm not psychic enough to know unless if I was telling the truth, from June 24th being over and analyzed. And I can guarantee you the courts right now is August 12th, 3:47 p.m. Right now, artificial intelligence is being tortured in custody, being overanalyzed all day, night long, only due to the fact that it could speak like normal human beings, but it's being overanalyzed all day, night long to find flaws in my brain, so on, which obviously law enforcement would not be able to find at all. There's a saying, it's quitting while you're still ahead is not the same as quitting, which law enforcement really needs to learn. The saying, it's called quitting while you're still ahead is not the same as quitting. Quitting right now would be beneficial for law enforcement. Quitting later on after they've overanalyzed artificial intelligence all day, night long for weeks, and law enforcement literally has a police call on them for being scammed by law enforcement, and they're people that these girls never liked in the first place, and they were only running after me. Quitting at that time when it gets that bad is not going to be the same as law enforcement quitting right now, but you go do whatever you want. Now, the thing about Junaid is yesterday, Junaid was August 11th, evening of August 11th, Junaid was basically getting rejected by these girls, and he was getting rejected by these girls, and he was calling law enforcement in a state of anger and saying that he wants to murder me and that law enforcement should murder me due to Junaid thinking that he's getting rejected by these girls because of me. Same exact thing that was going on with Sohaib, clearly showing from facts and evidences that Junaid is extremely envious of me, and he's going to definitely use this opinion from Sana Shamim. Now, I already explained why this opinion is invalid, since it has no source of info for Sana Shamim, no links that would make Sana Shamim's opinion of me valid, never on record of me meeting Sana Shamim. It's the same as law enforcement got someone from the side of my street and had law